WTBQ.
Good morning. I know you're listening to the voice of Taylor, but just for another second or two, because sitting in for Pat O'Dwyer, who's in a warm climate, God bless her, is Legislators Sullivan, Kemnitz, and Turnbull. And I'm going to turn it over to you. They're going to be talking about what's going on with the government center. So good morning.
Hello, this is Matt Turnbull. I'm a legislator, Orange County legislator, representing District Number 11, which is Hamptonburg, New Windsor, and Washingtonville. And with me, I have my esteemed colleagues, Myrna Kemnitz representing Monroe, and Roseanne Sullivan representing Pine Bush and Crawford. We're here today to discuss the fate of the Orange County Government Center. The three of us have equal passion for this issue, and it's been quite a journey. Starting with my campaign back in 2011, I ran in a special election against Mr. Petro, and that was the summer when the then county executive, Eddie Diana, after storms Irene and Lee, closed down the Orange County Government Center. They, since then, the building has been unoccupied, and the fate of the building has been debated. And going back to the summer of 2012, there was a special investigation by a panel that determined what the facts actually were. As a result of that investigation, there was a vote whether or not to renovate or demolish the Orange County Government Center, and the decision was made to renovate. The vote was 15-6. It required, because it was a issue that required bonding, it required a 2/3 vote. So it did pass 15-6. Subsequently, later that year, there was also a vote for what option. We were presented with certain options, and the so-called VB plus option was selected. Since then, certain other things that have happened, which presented challenges, obstacles, it made it necessary for us to continue the debate. I think it was when, Myrna, back in a year ago, that we were told that the State Historic Office was not happy with the option that we had selected, because it was considered a Rudolph building that was important, and there was certain aspects of the design that were they were not happy with. Amongst them being an addition which obstructed the view of the building on the Main Street side, and the removal of the signature rib-faced block. So at that point, again, we had to discuss how we were going to proceed. The county executive went out to bid on a new building with little support from the legislature, little discussion from the legislature. And also we had to determine what to do with $3.7 million of FEMA money that were at jeopardy because of the fact that we would have to go through the process of securing that funds through what's called a 106 process. Subsequent to that, the presence of another architect making an offer to buy the building continued the debate. We went out to bid on the sale of the building. There were two bids, one by Pike Construction and one by Gene Kaufman. So, you know, at that point, we had to, you know, that's pretty much where we are right now. We're sitting with certain options, and there's actually three things that could happen. One is we could continue on course with the BB option.
Which I consider the D option.
The what option, Myrna?
D. D is in not good. D. Because we
D
went
grade.
through, yeah, D grade. Because we've already gone through A, B plus, B minus, C, which was thrown out immediately in committee. So this has to be D.
Yeah, well, I would give it an F. And the next option would be to sell the building and continue to lease at the present rate, and that is supported by several Republicans. And that's in lieu of the county's financial condition. Some might refer to it as a crisis. I think it's more of a blip. I don't think it's a serious crisis. I think we're headed in the right direction. We've tightened the belt, we've cut cost, and, you know, I would say the future looks good for Orange County financially. And, of course, the third option is to sell the building to Mr. Kaufman, who proposes an art center and also a new Orange County Government Center, which, if I had to choose an option, that would be the one I would choose. I would also support selling the building to Mr. Kaufman and continuing to lease for the near term until our financial condition is improved. But I would say that the Kaufman proposal I find very attractive on a lot of different levels. Number one is that a new building renders a higher percentage of usable space and therefore is more efficient on that level. Mr. Kaufman's proposal saves the county about $20 million. So those are two good reasons. $20 million is a lot of money. And there's no doubt in my mind, Mr. Kaufman suggests that the amount is a lot higher than that, but my math indicates that it would be at least $20 million, and we would get the same square footage. Isn't that true, Roseanne?
Yeah, and just to, I just want to add that this morning, Mr. Newhouse was on the air saying, you know, we're going to go right ahead with this, and we're going full speed. It's never too late to change the course, and I just want to stress the fact that even though he has his plans, we still have an Orange County legislature. We still can go in there, we can override his veto, and we can start negotiating. There are many questions that people have, many concerns that people have at this point that have not been mapped out, because we need to go in there and override this veto and sit down and start negotiating. You're absolutely right that the Kaufman plan could save $20 to $30 million. At this point in the game, and I know that we've been working at this for so long, and there are legislators such as yourself, Matt, and Myrna, who really have had a lot of input into this project. And if anybody wants to see it move full speed ahead, I would guess that it would be you. But really what you're saying is, with all common sense, you're saying, hey, we've got another offer now on the table. Let's not be hasty. Let's sit down and make sure that we can responsibly look at all of the offers. So at this point, no one's trying to reinvent the wheel. But what we can do is we can make that wheel go faster, and we can change the course. And so you brought up the cost, Matt, but also the time frame. And the time frame can also be speeded up with this project, in my view. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I think my main reason for, I didn't vote for the BB option because I thought the price tag was excessive. It was a lot more money than I thought it would be. When I questioned, and these were estimates that were given by Clark Patterson, When I questioned those estimates, they told me, well, they're worst case scenarios. Some of those disciplines, like the roof, were twice as much as I could find, according to industry standards. So these disciplines, when you add them all together, being worst case scenarios, and then you put a 20% contingency on top of that. So what you're doing is you're authorizing the county to spend $74 million for a project that probably shouldn't cost more than $50 million. So, it's a lot more money. So, the thing that happened with me is that I reluctantly, after the BB option passed, I reluctantly said, well, it's passed. This is what they want to do. I'm going to support that. And, I voted for the CEQA process after that. But since then, many things that have happened. I no longer have confidence in the company that's at the helm. One of the reasons I supported the BB option is that there was part of the design team was a company called Design Labs that had produced a really magnificent project up in Boston. It was a Rudolph building. They got high praise from everywhere for the job that they did. And they did it. It was a project that was the same size as our Orange County Government Center, and they did that project for about $40 million. So this is what I was anticipating. Design Labs has left the design team. It cited ethical reasons.
Professional and ethical reasons.
Professional and ethical
Yes.
reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I find that very disturbing.
Just got up and ran.
I think that the SHPO thing is very disturbing, that we hired a design team that did not realize that there were going to be problems with a project of a building that was listed on the World Monument Fund. So they violated those principles of preservation. The other thing is that they had a square foot price on that building of over $400. I can't find any buildings for $400 a square foot. Why should our taxpayers pay $400 a square foot for a building when nobody's paying that amount?
Well, talking about the taxpayers, why should our taxpayers have to bond out a building so many years out now and spend money continually when we can get $5 million in hand by selling that building that we currently have to Gene Kaufman? That's $5 million in hand to alleviate part of the deficit that we're facing for this year in our county budget. And my constituents are asking me, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this picture? Why would anybody want to keep a deficit on hand when you can get $5 million reduced right away? In addition to having the building renovated in a year, 1 year to renovate,
Right.
and up and running as an art center, which would, again, enliven stuff that's going on in Goshen, good things that can happen in Goshen, new foot traffic, people coming, certainly tourism. And then, the argument is we need a government center. We want a government center in Goshen. This is the Goshen argument. There's nothing that says that can't happen. What we have to do is concentrate on being fiscally responsible at this point in time. And at this point in time, if somebody is offering you $5 million, give me a couple of good reasons why you wouldn't say yes.
That's right. And speaking of, okay, okay, and I'll wait.
We'll be back.
Peck's Wines and Spirits, your hometown store in Warwick, is family owned and operated. Peck's Wines and Spirits has an amazing collection of red and white wines, domestic and imported, as well as a diverse selection of single malt scotch and single barrel bourbons. At Peck's Wines and Spirits, you'll be impressed with their assortment of boutique tequilas, premium vodkas, and gins. And if they don't have what you're looking for, Peck's Wines and Spirits will gladly special order it. Planning a special event? Try their beverage catering service where Peck's provides setup and cleanup to any social function, such as weddings, anniversaries, corporate gatherings, or holiday parties. Remember, it's not a party without Peck's. Start your weekend at Peck's Wines and Spirits every Friday for their free wine tasting from 5 to 9 p.m. Peck's is located at 1 Bank Street in downtown Warwick. For more information, call 986-WINE or visit PecksWines.com. Peck's Wines and Spirits, 1 Bank Street in downtown Warwick.
Contact Rob Bowen at Farmers Insurance for the most reliable insurance agent for all your business and personal needs. Choose an expert for your personal auto, home, and life insurance. Rob also offers a wide range of options to fit your business needs, whether liability, workman's comp, or your commercial auto. Think Rob Bowen and Farmers Insurance. Contact Rob right now at 845-610-5700 or at robboweninsurance.com, or come into the office at 78 Brookside Avenue in the Chester ShopRite Plaza.
Last night I banged my knee against the coffee table. That's because when I go to bed, I shut off every light in the house. But Orange and Rockland showed me that's only one way to cut energy costs. Now I put the air conditioners on timers, run the dishwasher only when it's full, and use their energy calculators to analyze my energy usage and save on my monthly bill. Now, if only they could show me how to see in the dark. For more tips, visit oru.com/100tips, Facebook or Twitter. Orange and Rockland. Everything matters.
I'm Bill Johnson, an old semi-retired dairy farmer hosting the Orange County Farm Talk Show every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. I hope to promote all segments of farming along with input from our listeners. Every Wednesday, 12 to 1 on WTBQ.
I'm Sarah Kearns. Join me for Travels with Sarah on WTBQ 93.5 FM, discussing worldwide travel. WTBQ 93.5 FM every Thursday at 11 a.m.
WTBQ weather.
We have sunny skies today, but it's windy and very cold, only in the low teens. Tonight, cloudy with a low near 3. Now, tomorrow we're going to see some snow develop. It remains very cold into the lower 20s, and the winds will pick up in the afternoon. A couple of inches of snow. Then tomorrow night, snow likely, maybe a couple of more inches. It'll get very windy, lots of blowing and drifting snow as temperatures drop down to 6. And partly sunny skies on Sunday, only near 10, getting down to 5 to 12 below on Sunday night. This is meteorologist Tony Salimo from the WTBQ Weather Center.
WTBQ.
Hi, and welcome back. It's Roseanne Sullivan here. I just wanted to jump right into what Myrna was talking about in regards to the taxpayers. Hey, let's not forget the taxpayers, right? I have roughly almost 20 years experience in capital projects as a school board member in Pine Bush. And that's a lot of experience. And it's a little different in school districts where, you know, when you have a capital project, you discuss all of this in a public forum. And yes, the legislature is supposed to be discussing it in a public forum too, but you know, we have several different committees that has been working on this, and not all of those committees are working in an open forum. And what I'd just like to make the point that, you know, the taxpayers, if they've seen what I've seen in the past year, what I've seen happen to this plan that was the original plan that was approved by the legislature, there would be many concerns out there. I would doubt that they would come out and support this capital project. And let me just give you a couple of examples. There have been things that have been done. For instance, now we're talking about removing walls. Walls that don't necessarily have to be removed, walls where there was a forensic study done and it was told to us that, you know what, there's no mold growing on this steel and this concrete, so you don't really have to remove those walls. Well, now those walls are being removed. There's an extra floor being added. All of a sudden, that was just, last week, a couple of weeks ago, we just heard about that.
4th floor.
Yeah, and these are things that have just popped up. These were not in the original site plan. The courts, Mr. Kaufman is saying that he could have his renovation done in a year compared to 2 years that we're looking at now. I have to say that, but there are many reasons why I support the Kaufman plan. Myrna had brought it up before, an arts center. Not only is that an arts center good for Goshen, not only they're going to get a government center and an arts center, but think about what it will do for all of Orange County. I met a woman a couple of weeks ago who owns an art supply company, and she is so excited about this, and she lives in Crawford and has a business in the town of Walkill. Well, that's going to be good all around for her. She doesn't have to live in the village of Goshen to get anything out of that. So I just want to stress that this is a totally different plan, and I I feel that the public is in the dark about where this plan has gone. I feel that it is excessive. The vote for the bond was for $74 million, and all of that bond money does not have to be spent. But yet I feel like we're going on a shopping spree here and adding things in that we don't really need.
Well, getting back to that $400 a square foot building price that I found so incredibly, out of whack with, what the industry standard was for this type of building. It seems to me what has happened is that, they approved the bonding of $74 million, and they intend to get every single penny of that. There is no effort to reduce that price. We were told that those disciplines were worst-case scenarios with a 20% contingency. So my hope was, as they proceeded, we would get that $74 million down to 60-something million and save those tax dollars. That was my primary focus. It seems what they're doing instead is they added 15,000 square feet to the project after we determined through our reports how much square footage we needed for our departments. So that's their game. Add 15,000 square feet, and therefore you can justify the cost of the project. So there's 15,000 square feet that's not necessary. The other thing I want to bring up that is incredibly disturbing to me is the removal of the walls. Roseanne Sullivan mentioned it. Myrna mentioned it. We did study after study to determine that the walls did not have to come down. Everybody agreed. They brought in, this guy had a doctorate degree in mold. He's probably the only one on the planet that has a doctorate degree in mold. He told us that mold does not grow on concrete. Mold needs moisture and organic material to exist. But nonetheless, they're using mold as an excuse to take down the walls. When they did the Labella report years ago, they used the walls to produce their result-oriented report to show that a renovation would cost more than a new building. They said taking down the walls and putting up new walls would cost about $8 million. Now that they want to use that to make the case that they're taking down the walls to save money, they're saying that it would only cost $2 million to take down the walls. And then they turn around and they say to clean the walls and repoint the walls would cost more than taking down the walls and replacing them with new walls. How can they say it? That's like incredible. The number that they're using in their takeoff on the repointing of the walls is $50 a square foot. Now, when I had walls repointed, I was a contractor for 30 years. When I had walls repointed, this is going back years ago, and I'm sure the price has gone up since then, but the number that I was able to get square foots of walls done was $2 a square foot. So in these next decade or so, it's more than gone up to $50 a square foot. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And I'm sure any mason who's listening at this point, I hope you call in and tell us what it cost to point up a square foot of walls in Orange County. Yeah.
So let's just ask this question. Why do you think they're going to this? Why do you think they're so happy to remove those, especially the outside walls?
Yeah, I personally, it's baffling. My theory is that they want to make the building look as little like a Rudolph building as possible. It's almost like a childish game that they play. Some have said that the building is so ugly, blow it up, take it down, they hate it. Most people are reasonable, though, when they say that they hate the way the building looks, it doesn't belong there, and then you start talking numbers and the fact that structurally it's far superior to anything that would replace it. They change their mind. They know that things cost money, and we're not all architects. I mean, I'm not. I'm a builder, and I reserve those type of opinions to people that know something about it. And most architects, the vast majority of architects, have told me that the Rudolph building is really a building that's needs to be saved. We've gotten letters. There's been numerous articles in journals, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, all saying the same thing. That this is a building that's important and it needs to be preserved. The Kaufman option does that. Kaufman started off with several obstacles, and he's made a valiant effort at neutralizing these obstacles, starting, with the unions. He sat down with the union people. It's clear to me, if we did the Kaufman plan, that the unions would get more work with that option. He agreed to do PLAs on both projects. The Village of Goshen, he's talked to them. It's clear to me that if they did the new building and they renovated the government center, that the people who have businesses in Goshen would benefit from the addition of two buildings. The courts. The Kaufman plan would probably produce a court solution months earlier than the current plan, because he would go right to it. There wouldn't be any demolition of Division 2 that would hold things up, moving the mechanicals. So the courts would be satisfied, and we're under the gun with the courts. If we don't get those courts to them, there's going to be sanctions. So that's an important issue. And finally, the most important, and again, I mentioned this before, my main focus is that the Kaufman plan saves about $20 million. So, yeah, Roseanne, these are all reasons that we should...
They're all wonderful reasons, but I actually heard that the Village of Goshen officials refused to speak to Mr. Kaufman, and that needs to be noted with no reason why. And I just wanted to talk about investments. You brought up the word investment before. So let's say somebody gives you an Andy Warhol, and you don't really care for Andy Warhol. What do you do with it? Do you sell it, or do you try to splash some paint on it and turn it into a homemade Monet? What are you left with then? Then you don't have an Andy Warhol, you don't have a Monet, you have goulash. That's basically what you have. And your investment goes out the window. So why am I so concerned? Because this is an investment. This is taxpayer money, and we are entrusted with that money. And, that's just my little 2 bits.
Well, there's another metaphor for it. It's like if you're sick and you have a chronic disease and you're taking medication, and suddenly a new medication comes out on the market and the doctor says, would you like to try it? It'll probably be good for you. It's like we've been having a fiscal problem, and now we have a way to solve it. And we're just going to blink it away rather than try to have Goshen sit down and discuss the financials and what happens to the county as well financially, not just Goshen. It seems to me, try the medication, sit down, have a discussion. It may help. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the medication would be Kaufman and his plan for rejuvenization of Goshen, in my opinion.
I think we're going to take a break now, and we have a couple of minutes left. If you want to call in, please do so.
I've talked to you for years about the dip in the bed. Now I want to talk to you about the costs of the dip in the bed. Hi, this is Keith Millspaugh, Millspaugh Furniture of Walden, Warwick, and Poughkeepsie. My best-selling mattress is just over $4,000 with an expected no-dip lifetime of at least 10 years. That means it costs about $450 a year with tax, while you'll experience the same comfort for at least 10 years. If you buy a $1,000 mattress and that dip appears in that first year, changing your sleeping comfort, it's costing you over $1,000 a year, plus you're uncomfortable, plus you'll need to mattress shop again, plus you'll need to be home for another mattress delivery, plus you're likely to repeat the same process over and over again. So instead of spending over $1,000 a year on one-sided sinkhole mattresses, try our two-sided, flippable, no-dip mattress sets for way less than $1,000 a year. That's Millspaw Furniture, offering non-disposable furniture and mattresses since 1858.
When you are looking for a complete service center, look no further. Legislators Ford is your one-stop shop. Brakes, batteries, oil changes, tires. Guaranteed to get the best price of 13 major brands for all makes and models. Front and rear brakes, only $179, includes pads and labor. Don't get stuck in the cold. Upgrade to a Motorcraft Tested Tough battery with an 84-month warranty for only $99, plus battery installation. Get the Works package for only $39.95, includes up to 5 quarts of oil. We will change your oil, rotate your tires, inspect your brakes, top off all fluids, check your battery, filters, belts, and hoses, tire pressures, along with a car wash. And every time you have your Ford or Lincoln service with Legislators Ford, we automatically cross-reference Ford Motor Company database to ensure there are no vehicle updates or safety recalls on your car, something no other local shop can do. Legislators Ford, 986-1131, quality you can trust.
A comfortable retirement is something everybody wants to have, but planning for it can be frightening. Finding someone you could trust who can make it easy to understand shouldn't be. At Warwick Valley Financial Advisors, planning is what we do, and we do it well. If you'd like to see if we can help you, call us for a free consultation, 845-981-7300. Call us for a free consultation today at 981-7300. We're located in the Clock Tower building at 65 Main Street. Do you know if you'll have enough money to live on during your retirement? Hi, I'm Ken Ford with the Warwick Valley Financial Advisors and host of From Wall Street to Main Street. When speaking with people who are about to retire, their biggest fear is running out of money in retirement. Most tell me that they've never sat down to figure out if their retirement is safe. We listen to your goals and review your entire situation so we can customize a strategy especially for you. We're located in the Clock Tower building here in Warwick. For a free consultation, give us a call, 981-7300.
Hey everybody, this is Rachel Ray. Join me today and every weekday with Rach on the radio. I'll have tips to save you money, celebrity chit-chat, and of course, food. All from the kitchen table of our Emmy Award-winning show, Rachel Ray.
Weekdays at 12:30. This is Wild Baby Love. I'd like you to join me for Gospel Tracks Sunday on WTBQ, radio worth listening to. That's Gospel Tracks every Sunday at 6 a.m. for praise and worship with yours truly, Walt Baby Love.
WTBQ.
Welcome back. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, can you please tell us your name, where you're from, and go ahead. You have about a minute.
Okay, my name is Steve Brander. I'm an architect. I live in Central Valley.
Great. And what do you want to say today, Steve?
Well, it seems to me after listening to all of the arguments, Matt had a very good timeline discussion there of what happened, that I believe the legislature owns the building and that they also have a responsibility to the people that came before them that put together a very costly effort to create a building that was going to reflect changing and forward-looking Orange County. So you also, as legislators, have a responsibility to their legacy. And that responsibility is not to destroy the building, and that's been passed on to you for protection. So that's just one item in preservation. Another one is, this seems to be a real boondoggle. Matt's numbers were quite good at repointing the elimination of the exterior block walls and basically a very strong determination to cover up the building and make it undistinguishable from the Rudolph design. It's money that contractors and politicians are truly after in trying to make this decision, that you get two buildings in the Kaufman plan, and that an art center would bring a tremendous amount of money to Goshen and to the region. And these are not artists that play around with oak tag. Mm-hmm. These are very high-end artists where some of their work will sell for $500,000. So this can be a very, very wonderful thing for Goshen.
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. I'm going to let Matt. Go ahead, Matt. Do you have
thanks, Mr. Brander. That was good stuff. I'd just like to say that, in defense, there's 21 legislators, and I really believe everybody tries to do the best they can. I feel with this particular issue, I have a tremendous advantage, having been a builder for 30 years. I think about being down there in the Greenwich Village where my business started and seeing what happened to Soho. I know what arts can do as an economic boost. Certainly, that's true. So I agree with that. But this is a difficult situation. I mean, Mr. Kaufman has done a magnificent job of neutralizing the obstacles. A month or so ago, I was less optimistic than I am now. But he's kind of talked to everybody. Everybody's listened. And now we have the facts on the table. And the facts are indisputable. They're just what the technical term in the construction industry, I believe, it's called a no-brainer.
That's correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's just a lot of money to be saved. Win, 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 win everywhere. Everybody does better.
Well, I think at the very least, the village trustees should have a sit-down, and they should listen to his presentation. If they're afraid that they might be in agreement with it, that's a silly reason to not want to listen to it.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of sense. He's an extremely internationally known architect, a great architect. They've also renovated an existing Rudolph building at Yale.
Yeah.
And I know that you all have been there.
That's right.
So
Yes.
The village trustees should not be afraid to turn the government center into an arts center and then get a new government center that would truly be designed for the current needs that the county requires.
Yeah. Yeah, and, what I was saying before is, we all, in defense of the other legislators, I think a lot of them are looking at this closely, trying to make up their mind. We all perhaps interpret our oath a little bit differently. I think the main thrust of that oath is that I have a responsibility with the way I spend tax dollars.
That's correct.
And that's,
I think that's
just
prominent.
a huge part of this. I from the beginning, I've fought hard, tooth and nail, to keep the cost of this project down. And I'll continue to do that. I think that it's my responsibility, and I take it quite seriously, as I know, Mrs. Kemnitz and Mrs. Sullivan does. And I think
we have another call.
Another call? Thanks, Mr. Brandon.
Thank you so much for calling in. Next caller.
Yes, hi, Roseanne. It's Marianne McDonough.
Hi, Marianne. How are you?
Hi, Marianne. It's
Hi,
Myrna.
Myrna. Hi, Matt. Listen, I'm just calling. I want to follow up on one thing that Matt said. The facts are clear. It's a no-brainer. I would just like to indicate that has been the case on these two major county issues, Valley View and this building. But as I've stated many times in front of the full legislature, the facts don't matter. The facts didn't matter to Eddie Diana, and we had two investigative committees that pointed that up. The facts didn't matter. The facts don't matter to Steve Newhouse and the people that are pushing that this CPL plan continue to go through. So when I'm going to reach out to the three of you and to any of the media people that are out there, is that the facts, unfortunately, do matter to us, the tax-paying public. And as a result of that, these facts have got to get out there, because what we're doing right now is I'm listening, you're talking, we're preaching to the choir. We all know the facts. We knew the facts under Valley View, and we know the facts with this building. But the general public doesn't know the facts. They don't have time. They're working, they're supporting families. They've got a lot going on. So what I'm asking is, the facts that were so, wonderfully stated today. Matt, you did a great job of giving the full history. Those of us that have been involved in it, could follow it very readily because we've been there, step by step. But the facts have to get out to the general public before the wrecking ball hits.
You make a very good point.
I don't know how or who we can get that done. I mean, because what's happening is the current administration and his Republican followers are just saying, it's a done deal. This is where we're going, and there's no turning back. So maybe if the general public knows the facts with a major splash in the Times Herald Record or a major splash in one of the newspapers, maybe they'll begin to call people and question how exactly can this be going on, and why are you trying to put one over on us again?
Yeah, well, the deal isn't done until the deal is done. And it's up to the legislature to vote. There is it's kind of a very dark issue that a couple of my constituents are asking me about, and that is, why do we want not to lower the public's perception of the deficit? Is it because they're going to be looking at Valley View again, and they need some kind of a crutch to say that we are still in a large deficit? I don't know if there's a connection, but it always has been, as Roxanne Donnery had said, brick and mortar versus people and blood and bones. Tune in again next week. The three of us will be back, continuing in-depth discussion about the government center, and we will have more facts to present. If you are listening, as Pat would say, get out there, give a hug, get a hug, and kiss the world.
Your community radio station since 1969.
From ABC News,